Okay, we are moving on to our next member question, and this comes from Claire at our Lake Norman, North Carolina location. What are some techniques you've all utilized to help with recovery? All right, who wants to start? Recovery. It's important.
I can start.
Okay.
I have a couple different things. I think my recovery journey it's a journey. I think you're always like learning new tips. I could definitely improve my recovery. I'm one of those people that like after camp, I take noon camp. And so I'm so grateful that it's upstairs from where I work. But then I always have to like go to a meeting or, just eat some lunch or something. But lately I actually this is a plug for Burn On Demand, and I'm going to be very honest about it, but I hadn't done motion on Burn On Demand. We've had Burn On Demand now for almost a year, and I had never done it. And I just recently did the hips mobility for motion. And let me tell you, it is a game changer because I run so much. And so I get all tight in my hips and I've done nothing about it. So I'm just complaining to my husband about and he's like, why don't you stretch?
Yeah.
Like, maybe you need to stretch. And so that's lately something that I've been doing. And then I've also been better about taking my supplements consistently. I know in a little bit we're going to talk about creatine, but I swear that that's also helped me a lot with, I don't stretch as much as I should, but I also will say I don't feel like I'm as sore the next day with how much I don't stretch because I am taking the proper supplements.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at right now in my recovery journey.
I like it.
Yeah, no, that's good. I had a stint where I was just really into yoga and I felt so good doing it. And then you just kind of fall off. And then I'm like, man, that's right. I felt so good when I was doing that. Why don't I keep doing it?
Yeah.
But yeah, just stretching, honestly, and foam rolling. That's something that my husband Charlie had always done at home. And he just would always talk about the benefits of it and how he would feel so much better the next day. But man, I'm just one of those people where I'm like, a little bit of pain, gonna back off.
You had a home birth, okay? You had a home birth.
Yeah, but the
we gotta channel
adrenaline kicks in and
very true.
If I got a baby at the end of some foam rolling, like all that serotonin, then maybe. But man, you hit those quads after a leg day and you're
feeling.
like, yeah, no, I'm good. We're wrapping up here. But man, no, foam rolling
Yeah.
has been something that I've been implementing little bits here and there, but it definitely is where I'm finding a lot of recovery.
Deej, I have seen you overcome yourself so many times over almost nearly a decade. And I think there's a next level. I feel like you're just telling yourself things of the past that have always been the past. And there's a future DJ where it's like, bring that on. I'm not scared of that pain.
I think it's the ice bath. He told me, he was like, just get in the ice bath. I was like, nope, I'm not doing it.
You got to come over. You got to come to the plunge.
All these things are for mental resilience more than anything, including working out, in my opinion. Is for mental resilience more than anything. That's the number one benefit is I believe I can become somebody that can do hard things, and life is hard. So you got to be.
All right, I'll go next.
Devan.
So
I believe in you.
My recovery journey is also, it ebbs and flows. And I think it's one of those things for me that does fall to the back burner when times are busy. But I have done a lot better job of keeping things in my rotation, including yoga. So we have someone about every 2 to 3 weeks come over and do a yoga session with Devan and I. And we do it at our house intentionally because when we do it like in the gym, at our own gym, I can't let my mind go. Like I can't actually let it be exactly in the place that it is. That's probably one of my downfalls is just the mental strength of like drowning out the outside world and the to-do list. So it's been really helpful to be able to do that with somebody just one-on-one in our home. So recovery, I always do a post-workout protein shake. I'm very thankful. We also have a smoothie bar at the Lake Norman gym. So I do plant protein and I put creatine in there, and just to give my body what it needs after it works out and make sure I'm feeding those muscles with some good protein. And then Devan and I recently got a plunge, so a cold plunge, and then we have a sauna. So I would say those two things are both recovery and for my mental wellness.
Yeah, I know you hit the 360 approach, and I'm glad, Morgan, that you said that recovery is based in nutrition, because that's where it starts. There's no amount of foam rolling or yoga, or there's no amount of myofascial release that is going to help you recover your muscle, like protein and good nutrition and good hydration, giving your joints and your ligaments the macro and micronutrients that it needs to recover, to repair, and to rebuild. Now, that being said, our whole philosophy at Burn has always been lengthen and strengthen. Like lengthen so that you can create space for strength. Think about it that way. As you are in a deep stretching yoga session like burn motion, and you are doing, I've done that with Jeremiah too, the hip opener.
Yeah.
It feels amazing. And if you're focused on creating space and that's your intention, well, not only does that help keep you present in the moment so you don't have to worry about the dog barking or the cell phone going off, but also you actually are literally physically making, not just metaphorically, you're physically making space. You're opening up your body, you're stretching your muscle fiber, you're wound up, muscle fiber and Golgi tendons that you just are always contracted constantly. You've got to have space to have those things breathe. And stretching for 10 seconds, here and there on one muscle group isn't going to do anything at all. You've got to hold deep, static stretches. You've got to allow yourself to do what we call in burn motion, like flex and breathe, like almost like you're in this tense position and you have to be present enough to breathe in deep. Think about making space for the muscle you're working on and breathing out and just relaxing. And that constant breath work also, I think has other benefits outside of just the pure physical lengthening. If you have a great yoga instructor like Rachel, she helps you tap into that's the yoga instructor that comes to our house and then does our flagship here at Burn Boot Camp. She's very popular in the Charlotte area, does a lot of cool events and things like that. She brings an energy and she brings a spirituality to the session that allows you to be more present and it increases or accelerates rather the journey to find yourself. And so I've really enjoyed that part of it, the spiritual part of yoga and burn motion. And we've always had yoga as a part of burn, whether it's been called motion or burn yoga. It's changed over the years. It's now motion. And I just really encourage everybody to, you can sign up for the Burn Bootcamp on demand app. And you can really get into those sessions, whether it's foam rolling, a deep stretch motion with Jeremiah or one of our other instructors, or just simply static stretching on your own. There's some just basic recovery. I'm just here to stretch my muscles. Devan, stop talking to me about Zen and breathing deep and feeling my spirit animal.
Yeah.
So that is my take on it, and but I do want to emphasize one more time the importance of hydration and recovery.
Yeah.
And protein. So like 100 G's. It stands for 100 grams of protein, and 100 Z's, 100 ounces of water. That's what we say. Like those are the two first small wins that you can.
G's and C's,
G's
baby.
and C's, 100 G's, 100 C's.
Okay, 100 G's, 100 Z's. Are you getting in 100 grams of protein and ounces of water? Ask yourself that right now. And if not, start there with your recovery, and then you can gradually build in more of the routines that we all just talked about. So cool. All right, we're going to myth or fact. Guys ready? I'm going to go around the room.
This is my favorite
Myth
one of all
or
time, by the way.
fact?
I
It's
love
my
it.
favorite one.
And this is one of my favorite topics. Lifting heavy weights makes women bulky.
There it
Myth
is.
or fact?
I feel like Burn
Devin.
Nation already knows that this is a big old myth.
I think our marketing team has done a really good job of educating everyone in Burn Nation and obviously all of our trainers. So who wants to go around?
I'd love to hear what lifting heavy weight means to you guys from a female perspective. And from a male perspective and a trainer perspective, I would just want to add to the conversation that my goal always was to increase the adoption of hypertrophic strength training or hypertrophy, where it is a certain rep range, 8 to 15 reps, where you're lifting to failure and you're gaining the maximum amount of muscle that you can, adapting the muscle fiber as much as you can in the moment, lifting like an athlete. This was my mission at the core when I started Burn, was to take my Central Michigan Chippewa programming, my San Francisco Giant programming, and bring strength to the everyday athlete who needed it the most. And the last thing that I'll say is, I am proud of having a brand that has, in large part, been a conversation since the beginning of strength building in women, especially. I think that's really important to me, and I'm glad that, and I'm honored that Burn is at the table for accelerating that conversation in our country. Because if you're here and you're in the U.S., you don't realize it, but everywhere else is 10 years at least behind the health and fitness awareness that we have here in the United States. So maybe Trish, you can start and kick it to DJ and kick it back to Morgan on just what does it what does it mean? I mean, you could do myth and fact if you want to, but I think the cat's
we all know.
The cat's out of the
This is a
bag.
myth.
Cat's out of the bag here. Definitely, I always tell my members before you start that, hey, if you wake up tomorrow and you look like the Incredible Hulk after my push and pull session,
You can
fire me right away, and I'll still train you for
I've
3
used
years.
that line too several times with members.
Yeah. Well, it's fun. I mean, rewind 10 years ago, I believed in this. I thought that this was a fact. I was like, I cannot lift more than 10 pounds. Like if I do a bicep curl, I'm going to get just so bulky. But I will say, I'm very much like, fitness to me it helps me with my mental game, and it's a mental a battle in my head all the time. And I would say over the past couple of years, I actually started to overcome this because I've had people around me, the people at this table. DJ is a beast in the gym and she pushes me, but just having positive people around me to show that like you got to stop that negative. Because I mean, I'm scrolling on Instagram and there's these people that are not credible that are telling other people like me, like, don't do this because you're going to get bulky, but it's not true. So I think, again, surrounding yourself with people who actually know the truth, have that information. Like our trainers across Burn Nation are really good about feeding us the information that we need. And so it gave me the, I guess, confidence to start actually my journey of strength training. And I now love lifting heavy. I've been a member at Burn Boot Camp for 8.5 years. I've always worked out. I've always been into fitness, but this is the thing that I've stuck with the most. And I've seen more transformation over the last, I would say, 2 years with me starting to actually lift heavy and starting to go for those PRs and picking up the heavy weights. I now curl with 30-pound dumbbells if I'm doing a hammer curl, and I'm not scared about it. I'll pick them up. I don't care. Like, come at me. Like,
Let's go.
Let's go. But like, I actually was just doing Burn on Demand the other day live, and I like saw my muscles in the camera, and I was like, it works, y'all.
Yeah.
Like, I'm leaner. And I'm not I wouldn't say I'm bulky. I just have muscle, and I'm proud of those muscles because it's hard work.
Yeah.
I mean, again, like I'm sweating like I sweat more in the gym than I do when I'm on a run when it's just a strength day, getting my heart rate up. So I think you just have to overcome whatever those things are and make sure you're unfollowing the people that are giving you false information. And then I'll also say, because I do love to run, lifting heavy, especially I love a really strong leg day too. It's helped me run faster. So like there's just so many different benefits from a mental perspective to then other fitness goals that you have. That lifting heavy, just don't listen to the negative. It'll make you bulky because it won't.
And
Yeah,
let's not
for
forget
sure.
you carry around like 2 kids at a time, you know, one on your back, one on your, on your hip, and maybe a backpack. Like we have to lift heavy. We got to be strong for just motherhood.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and just to feel good in general. And I think too, it also like boils down to like when you're watching these bodybuilders, like, dude, like we're not working on our traps and like all of these other muscles that like make men bulky. Like we're focusing on the things that women typically want to see in themselves: toned arms, like toned core, a large booty. So like those are all the things that like lifting heavy is going to get you, but you have to do that. And same with Trish. I love working out with her in the gym because we're like, heavier, no, you go heavier, go heavier on that one.
Yeah.
And it's fun to have that, back and forth. But same, like I thought it was, okay, I'm only going to go on the cardio days because that's where I'm going to get lean, I'm going to get toned, and I'll lift some because obviously, I want to come on those days and like still continue to build my body. But now I've kind of flipped the script. I do enjoy the strength and conditioning days, but I find myself really craving a good upper body day, a good lower body day, because I always feel way better.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm like picturing a car. Was it like the pistons are firing? I'm like, that's what I feel like when I'm there lifting heavy. Like everything is just going and it feels really good.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, hypertrophy is something I remember hearing very early on and learning it when I became a certified personal trainer for the brand. But lifting heavy does look different for everybody, right? Because hypertrophy is failure. And so the weight that I'm going to use to fail could be different than what DJ uses, what Trish uses, and of course what Devan uses. So, just because you are still on the 15s doesn't mean you're not going to be able to hit hypertrophy and fail and do the things that maybe Trish is doing with a 30. But it's all about that. It's all about pushing yourself relative to what it looks like to fail. And I can remember early, or members that are just coming in, they are picking up the lighter weights and they're doing a lot of reps, and you have to kind of slow them down and educate them on, what hypertrophy is and why that's better than a bunch of like muscular endurance exercises where you're doing a bunch of reps. So, yeah, I think lifting heavy for me is relative, but it's continuing to push myself. And sometimes I will go for the lighter weights because maybe that's what I did last time. And the thing I love the most about Burn is Ashley Beasley or trainers coming right up to me and is like, nope, I'm looking at your face right now and you can do heavier, or your neighbors pushing you and motivating you to do it better. But for me, strength, you guys nailed it. Like, it's so much more important to me to be strong than to be skinny. And I want that for the longevity of my health, right? For my bone health, and just for my posture, for me just being able to grow old with my children and be strong enough for them. So that's my focus. And so I'm never worried about getting bulky. If you're going to get bulky, it's because of your nutrition.
Yes.
So.
And also think about the way that we program. Like, I'll put my trainer hat on for a moment. When we sit down and we program our workouts, well, we never do the same thing twice. The body's always forced to adapt. But then you also have 3 strength training based protocols per week and 3 conditioning based. And so when you're talking about the goal here is to be faster, to be stronger, to be more athletic, to have more endurance, like all the things that you can gain. So you don't want to just be able to just bench press, right?
Yeah.
Like, I want you to be strong in your bench press. I want you to be strong in your squat. I want you to be able to run a half a mile in 3 to 4 minutes, like, or 5 minutes. I want you to be able to do double unders consecutively. Come back the next day, focus on a push and pull where you're pulling and pushing your body weight or more, right? So the way that we program and doing so in all planes of motion, both on the strength and conditioning days, what happens is, you're kind of staying in hypertrophy and you'll kind of live there. To your point, Morgan, when members first come in, they'll go through an adaptation phase where it is more muscular endurance. It is more adaptation, it is more isolation. It is like, we need to get them to the point where they are graduating to hypertrophy, which usually takes depending on the exercise history, takes anywhere from 3 months to 3 weeks sometimes, right? But usually not longer than 90 days if we're doing it constructively. And then you move into the hypertrophy phase, but then you want to move out of that and you want to move into power phase. So you might see some days where we are going like heavy lift, right, followed by, like, let's say a heavy squat followed with a jump squat right away.
Yeah.
And now you have this hypertrophy and power that's even that next level. And so just a little 2 cents on how it is actually programmed so that you come out of all of that looking and feeling like an athlete. Add some lengthening in, like we were just talking about. Now you're pain-free looking like that. And that's what's really important. You can get fit looking and feel terrible on the inside.
Yep.
So
That's for sure.
Or as Devan likes to say, show muscles.
yeah, show the beach muscles, baby. Just, as long as I got good biceps and pecs, I'm good to go. People think I'm a fit guy.
Oh my goodness. All right. So the message before we move on is don't be afraid to pick up the heavy weights. And listen, if you fail after 2 or 3 reps, then maybe you do go down a little bit. But Devan, remind us of that rep range that we're looking for.
8 to 15 reps.
8 to 15 reps.
You want to be at failure with all your lifts in that rep range, no more than 15. And I'm talking about failure, people.
Yeah. Like you've got to drop the weights and you can't finish the complete rep.
Like gravity takes over.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You're going down.
You're going down. Just go down slowly. Go down slowly and
Don't
control.
hurt yourself. That's right.
We don't need to drop the weights in the floating floor. Our franchise partners will get mad at me.